Hillary Clinton making her final push towards the big primary Tuesday right here in New Hampshire. Meanwhile, former President Bill Clinton spending time with caucus goers in Nevada. That is the next state on the calendar for the Democrats. The Clinton campaign also releasing its first Spanish-language radio ad and TV ads this weekend. This is all part of a Hispanic media ad buy in Nevada. Now, Latino voters make up a small percentage of the eligible voters in many of the early states we've been talking about, just 3% in New Hampshire, give or take. And if you go deeper into the primary calendar, those numbers do jump significantly, especially in states like Florida, Nevada, and Colorado. Now, as we get closer to Nevada and beyond, how are the campaigns reaching out to what could be a crucial block of voters, Latinos, both in the primaries as well as the general election? Well, we have Adolfo Franco, a former advisor to Senator John McCain. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Ari. Great to see you.
Nice to see you. It's not really an exaggeration from the data we put up there that as a matter of demography, maybe not on purpose, but as a matter of demography, it's sort of a white primary in the first two states. And we sort of say these states are so important, and oh my God, what's going to happen? And as I mentioned, New Hampshire is the 45th state when it comes to Latino representation, even though we've heard so much about that as a matter of electoral math and politics for the general election. So walk us through your thoughts on that with what we just mentioned about Clinton and the outreach.
Well, you're absolutely right. First of all, 50,000 Hispanics turn 18 every month. That's a very, impressive statistic. Historically, Hispanic voters haven't turned out at elections or primaries in very, very large numbers. So certainly not the numbers that other groups are represented. I think this year, whether it's going to be, you'll see it in Nevada or across the country for that matter, you're going to see a much higher turnout. And I have to say, as a Republican, this is, in this ad from Hillary Clinton demonstrated it, showing Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump is doing something that really hasn't happened since about 1990 in California with Proposition 187. That was an anti-immigration proposition. It was advanced by then Republican Governor Wilson, which was devastating to our party. Unfortunately, Mr. Trump is repeating this message, as anti-Hispanic message, and I think it's already going to drive up. It even drove it up in Iowa, actually. Just another statistic. In Iowa, 10 times the number of Hispanics participated in the caucuses this year as compared to 2008. The Hispanic population in Iowa, which is small, has not increased tenfold. What is that attributed to? That's attributed to the anti-Hispanic, anti-immigration message of Donald Trump. And it's a tragedy for our party unless Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush, and that positive message gets out.
Well, and so let me bring in your fellow Republican O'Brien here, and I know we didn't get to talk about it, but I believe you're a big Lil Wayne fan, the rapper. And
secret's out.
Yeah, and he says men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And the numbers for your party on Hispanic voting share, here it is, I'm going to put it up on the screen. George W. Bush, 40%. Not bad. John McCain, 31%. Slipping a little, O'Brien. You go down to Mitt Romney, 27%. And, O'Brien, that's before Donald Trump.
Well, also right now, don't forget, you got Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz as candidates. That also helps the Iowa turnout, I think, when you look at what we're talking about. I think right now the party's message is about a growth of a party and a big tent. Donald Trump narrows that tent.
I'm sorry. You're saying the tent is getting narrower.
So Donald Trump
I feel like it could be this tent we're in right now.
The win in politics is about addition. Donald Trump is running subtraction right now.
You do think? So you worry about him as a general election candidate?
I am worried about him right now for general election candidate, but I also know the party wants to unite behind whoever the nominee is to beat the Democratic nominee. That's going to be the real question, I think, in this primary process.
So I pushed on you. Now I'm going to push on Jason from a different perspective, which is there are people around Donald Trump who say, hey, you guys have seen this movie before and you're acting like you never have. Of course it is rough and tumble in the primaries. They say, hey, Donald Trump has all kinds of friends. He's friends with Russell Simmons. He's friends with business interests in the Middle East. He will turn this around. If he's the nominee, he will come in the general election and be like, put that to the side and do like a big Benetton ad. Do you think he can pull that off?
No, because no one's going to get together and sing We Are the World after he alluded that Mexicans are rapists, right? And he can have Pastor Darrell Scott from Cleveland come and cape for him as much as he wants. It doesn't mean black people are going to vote for him. You cannot, as a Republican, win a general election in this country with less than about 40% of the Latino vote. And if you alienate people and make them angry, they're going to remember. And just in case independent voters don't remember, Hillary's going to remind them.
Right. Adolfo, last word?
Well, very quickly, I completely agree with that. Let me tell you, the Iowa turnout, which is tenfold, was on the Democratic side. That's an ominous warning for us. The only candidate that I think is speaking right now to the general election, which we need to focus on, is Marco Rubio. Not just as a messaging, his message is one of Big Tent. It's Ronald Reagan. It's optimistic. I am disappointed, even beyond Latinos, on some of the rhetoric on gay rights. I think that's a losing proposition for us if we don't recognize that gay marriage is, for example, last night, the majority view of this country, and also other issues such as abortion. Not that we're still a pro-life party, but we don't have to be perceived as the extremist party on these issues. We have winning issues on foreign policy, small government, fewer taxes. We should be focused on that, not social issues where the country is at a very different place than most of the evangelical or more conservative Republican primary voters.
All right, well, even though we were here in New Hampshire, we wanted to do that look ahead and think about the wider context. So my thanks to Adolfo Franco for joining us.
Thank you so much.
As well as O'Brien Murray, of course, right here on the ground. I want to tell you at home what's up ahead. We are